I got approved for an EIN only, no PG business card called Revenue. You know, getting denied at first was tough, but after pushing past a hidden problem, I was able to turn the tables and finally get approved. So I'll show you what credit limit I got approved for, how I got access to the money within 24 hours, and the only 2 documents I had to submit to get approved without touching any of my personal credit. I run a small but growing media and e-commerce business. Like many of you, I'm always on the lookout for ways to add more funding to my business without sacrificing my personal credit or signing up for personal guarantees. And for years, it felt like every funding opportunity came with strings attached, hard credit inquiries, personal liabilities, or requirements that just didn't align with the reality of running a business with fluctuating revenue. The idea of truly separating my personal financial life from my business was something that I'd searched for, and finding the right opportunity felt like looking for a needle in a haystack. That's when I first heard about the Revenue Flex line about a year ago. To be honest, I was intrigued but a bit skeptical. It promised funding based on business performance alone, no hard credit pulls, no personal guarantees. If it was as good as it sounded, this could be a total game changer, not just for me, but for so many other business owners who've been shut down by traditional lenders. But then I saw the revenue requirement. To qualify, your business needs to show monthly deposits of at least $20,000 over the past 3 months. It's non-negotiable because revenue bets on your business's steady income rather than your personal credit score. And back then, my revenue numbers just weren't there yet. I knew applying would only lead to disappointment, so I decided to wait it out. Fast forward to now, my business has grown and I finally hit that revenue mark. This time, I was ready to give it a shot. I wanted to test it out, not just for my own benefit, but for you guys too. So I decided to go for it. And hey, who doesn't love a little testing for science, right? And by the way, I'll leave a link below to the revenue card and flex line if you want to go for it for yourself. Remember, there's no credit check, so your personal credit is never affected. It just uses your EIN number only. Plus, there's no PG, so you're never personally on the hook to repay. Starting limits can go up to $250,000, and your repayments help build your business credit score too. I'll just leave a link to that below. Now, I knew applying for the Revenue Business Card and Flex Line was going to be tight. My business revenue had been consistently solid, but only a few $1,000s over that $20,000 monthly deposit mark. That minimum might seem manageable on paper, but anyone who runs a small business knows that unexpected dips can happen, and sometimes the numbers cut close. Still, with cautious optimism, I submitted my online application, silently hoping everything would go smoothly. And the response came in sooner than I expected, but it wasn't the news I wanted. I received a message saying that your application for the Revenue Business Card Plus Flex Line has been reviewed and is not approved at this time. In that moment, my heart sank. It's that familiar disappointment, a mix of frustration and defeat that every business owner knows too well. Rejection is just tough, but determined not to let one setback shut the door, I picked up the phone and called in. That's when I connected with Frank, who patiently walked me through the possible reasons for the denial. But then he mentioned that I had linked one business account that showed no activity. And I was like, wait, what? I was sure I had linked 2 accounts, one being my main revenue generator and the other a secondary account I rarely used. And as soon as he said it, a light bulb went off. I knew exactly where the mix-up was. The big problem was how Plaid linked with my main business account. For those of you who manage multiple business accounts, you've probably experienced the quirks and glitches of Plaid. And if you've ever used Bluevine as your business account, you know it can be particularly stubborn when it comes to syncing up with external services. This wasn't even my first time battling a connection issue with Bluevine, but I didn't expect it to cost me an approval. So Frank reassured me that if I corrected the issue and then resubmitted the application, he'd push it back to underwriting for review. I was like, awesome. Now I had a second chance at getting approved. So over the next few days, Frank and I worked out the kinks in linking my Bluevine account to revenue. It was a reminder that persistence really pays off. Even it comes with a side of technology frustration. Then after days of short update messages back and forth, I opened my inbox to see an email from Frank. It said, great news, our underwriting team has approved you for the Revenue Business Card Plus Flex Line. And I was like, finally, I got the approval, but the process wasn't quite over yet. Frank then told me to schedule a meeting with Sam, who could go over the agreement and finalize everything. So during our 30-minute virtual call, Sam walked me through the terms of the Flex Line, detailing how the account would work and what borrowing would cost. He explained that Revenue would review my account and performance every 4 to 6 weeks, and they would offer the potential to increase my $5,000 funding limit based on usage and reliability. And before wrapping up, Sam requested a copy of my driver's license and a bank verification letter from Bluevine to confirm everything was set. I quickly sent the documents, and within 2 hours, Revenue emailed me the contract with the terms of service to sign. It felt surreal that after all the hoops and hurdles, I was so close to the finish line. Then less than 24 hours later, it arrived. Welcome to Revenue. With this email, I could log into my online account and finally access my new Flex line. Though the physical card was still in the process of being shipped out, I had immediate access to the $5,000 in funds via the cash withdrawal feature. You know, one of the most refreshing parts of applying for the Revenue Flex line was getting approved without a hard credit pull. If you've dealt with traditional lenders before, you know how rare and valuable this is. I didn't have to enter my social security number, and my personal credit report stayed untouched. It felt really good not having that nagging anxiety about how another inquiry might hurt my score. This kind of no pressure application process is exactly what makes Revenue stand out. And when I saw the $5,000 approval, I'll admit it felt modest at first, but Sam, my account manager, quickly pointed out that this was just the beginning. Revenue isn't about fixed limits, it's about growth. You know, with consistent use and positive performance, the potential to scale up to $1 million is very real for some businesses. This isn't like your typical business credit card that maxes out at $50,000 to $100,000 or a traditional line of credit that caps out at $250,000. We all know that sinking feeling when unexpected fees pop up out of nowhere. Now, with Revenue, there are no origination fees, there's no maintenance fees or draw fees. It's straightforward. You only pay when you use the funds. And it felt reassuring to know I wouldn't be hit with charges just for having the credit line available. Another thing I like is that after ironing out the initial hiccups with my application, I got a decision in just an hour. And when the approval came, the funds were available for withdrawal within 24 hours. So I'm confident that most other business owners can expect a decision from Revenue within a couple of hours during regular business hours, that is. So if you're ever in a pinch for payroll or a major purchase and need the money fast, you won't be left waiting for days or weeks for paperwork and processing. You can choose to draw funds directly into your business bank account or use their Revenue Visa business card. Even better, the virtual card was available right after approval, so I didn't have to wait for the physical card to arrive to start using the credit line. Plus, having access to real human customer support based in the US is valuable since a lot of big banks outsource to foreign countries. My dedicated representative, Melissa, reached out to me the same day I set up the account. So knowing I could contact the same person every time who understood my account and situation made the whole experience feel more personal. And while I was researching, I found out Revenue has the ability to help build up your business credit profile. You know, many business credit cards don't even report to the major business credit bureaus. So I was relieved to learn that Revenue reports to Dun & Bradstreet. And because of that, your positive usage and on-time payments can make a significant difference when it comes to future credit applications. You know, knowing that I'm not only accessing funds, but also strengthening my business's credit worthiness is a win-win. When banks or other lenders look at your business's financial health, D&B reports often play a major role. You know, if you're thinking long-term and aiming for larger funding opportunities down the line, having a funding source like Revenue that reports to D&B helps you out. So I'd say Revenue is for you if you're a business owner generating consistent revenue, but struggling to find funding due to low personal credit scores. It really shifts the focus from personal credit history to actual business performance. I've seen businesses using this card to expand their operations, hire additional staff, or invest in equipment that otherwise would have been out of reach due to lack of funding. It's really perfect for those moments when you know your business can grow, but traditional lenders aren't seeing past your credit report. But just remember the requirements. For business type, you must be a US-based LLC, corporation, or partnership, no sole proprietorships. And you need at least 1 year in business. For Revenue, you need a minimum of $20,000 in monthly deposits over the last 3 months. And then you must have a separate business bank account. But listen, what if your business isn't doing $20,000 per month? That's a lot of money, I know. Or maybe you didn't establish your business yet. Maybe it's something you're brainstorming right now. It's just an idea. Well, do you know you can still secure business funding without a business? You gotta check out the next video to see how many of you are already qualified to get approved for business credit without showing a single dollar in revenue. Thank you for watching.